Hello my dear students, welcome back to Biology at Priyajit. Have you ever wondered how claws, horns, antlers, hairs and nails are all fascinating derivatives of the mammalian skin? In today's class, we will explore the exoskeleton derivatives of mammals, their types, origins and functions, and learn some important exam points along the way. So let's begin this fascinating journey into the amazing outer world of mammals. What is an exoskeleton? An exoskeleton is an outer skeleton that supports and protects an animal's body. In insects and crabs, it's a hard shell. In mammals, there is no true hard shell. Instead, the skin makes protective structures like hair, nails, and horns. The integument, basically, the integument or the skin is a composite organ. It has several parts. It makes up about 15% of the body weight. The skin has three main parts: epidermis, basement membrane and dermis. Below the dermis there is hypodermis, which has fat and connective tissue. Main layers of mammalian skin: like other vertebrates, mammals have two main skin layers, epidermis and dermis. These two layers are connected by the basement membrane. Epidermis. The epidermis makes hairs, nails and skin glands. It protects the body and stops germs from entering. Cells of the epidermis. The main cells are keratinocytes. These cells produce keratin, which makes the outer layer tough and waterproof. How the epidermis renews itself: new cells from in the stratum basal. These cells divide and move upwards. As they move up, they become flat and filled with keratin. This is called keratinization. Layers of the epidermis from deep to surface: stratum basal, which is the deepest and where new cells form; stratum spinosum, stratum granulosum, stratum lucidum, only in thick cells line soles and palms; and stratum corneum, the outermost dead cells full of keratin. Special areas: keratinization is strongest where skin is thick, like on the soles of the feet. Now we will study keratinization and special epidermal cells. Where keratinization is strongest, the process of keratinization is most noticeable in parts of the body where the skin is thickest, like the soles of the feet. Keratinocytes are the main cells of the epidermis. They make keratin, which protects the skin and makes it tough. Other special cells in the epidermis: Langerhans cells. These are star-shaped stellate cells found in the upper part of the stratum spinosum. They help the immune system fight germs by supporting cell-mediated immunity. Merkel cells. These come from neural crest cells. They connect with sensory nerves and help the skin respond to touch and pressure. Chromatophores. These also come from embryonic neural crest cells. They make melanin, a dark pigment. Melanin granules are passed to the surrounding skin cells. How skin get its color? Skin color is a mix of yellow color from the stratum corneum, red color from blood vessels underneath, dark melanin pigment from chromatophores. Dermis, the support layer. The mammalian dermis has two layers: papillary layer. The layer pushes up tiny finger-like projections called dermal papilla into the epidermis. These make your fingerprints. A reticular layer. This deeper layer has irregularly arranged fibers, connective tissues and blood vessels, nerves and smooth muscles. These parts stay inside the dermis and do not reach the outer epidermis. Special functions of the dermis: the mammalian dermis can make dermal bones, but in mammals these mainly help from the skull and shoulder bone or pectoral girdle. Rarely dermal bones may form dermal scales in the skin, like in armadillos. Connections and structures: blood vessels and nerves from the dermis reach up into the epidermis. Hair follicles and skin glands grow downward from the epidermis into the dermis. Elasticity of the dermis: the dermis is made of tough, irregular connective tissue filled with elastic fibers. These fibers allow the skin to stretch and return to its shape. As people get older, these elastic fibers break down. This causes skin to sag and wrinkle. Hair in mammals. What is hair? Hair is a slender keratinous filament made up of keratin. Hair helps protect the body, sense the environment, and in some animals defend against enemies. Parts of a hair. Hair consists of root, shaft, shaft made up of cuticle, cortex and medulla. Where the hair grows, Hair grows from a hair follicle which is made by the epidermis but rooted deep into the dermis. The base of the follicle has a small bump of dermis called the hair papilla which supplies nutrients. How hair get its color? Chromatophores in the follicle add pigment granules to the hair shaft, giving hair its color. Erector pili muscle. Each hair follicle has a tiny smooth muscle called the erector pili. The muscle pulls the hair upright when you feel cold, scared, and angry, and that this is what causes goosebump. Special types of hair. Vibrissae or whiskers, special long hairs found around the snouts of many mammals. There are many sensitive, very sensitive because nerves connect to their roots, common in nocturnal animals or animals that live in burrows with little light. Quills of porcupines, these are stiff coarse hairs, they are specially adapted to defend the animal from predators. Glands in mammals. Main glands of mammals are sebaceous glands and sweat glands. Scent glands and mammary glands are special forms derived from the sebaceous and sweat glands. Sebaceous glands make an oily substance called sebum, which is released into hair follicles. It conditions hair and makes fur waterproof. Where they are found, they are not found on the palms of the hands or soles of the feet. They are present without hair at places like corners of the mouth, penis, near the vagina, next the nipples, and special sebaceous glands are the wax glands of the outer ear canal, make ear ox or cerumen, and the meibomian glands in the epidermis produces oily film to protect the eye surface. Sweat glands. Sweat glands make perspiration or sweat which helps cool the body. Types of sweat glands. There are two types based on thickness of sweat linked with hair follicles and when they become active before or after puberty. Thin sweat glands, they produce watery sweat not linked to hair follicles, start working before puberty and their main job is regulate body temperature. Viscous sweat glands, they produce thicker sweat linked to hair follicles, start working at puberty and cause body odor. Where sweat glands are found, not all mammals have sweat glands. Chimpanzees and humans have many, even on palms and soles. Duckbill platypus only on the snout. Deer mainly at the base of the tail. Elephants no sweat or sebaceous glands at all. Scent glands. Scent glands come from sweat glands. They produce strong smelling secretions for communication. Uses include marking territory, identifying individuals, and signaling during courtship. Mammary glands, what they do, mammary glands also evolved from sweat gland or maybe sebaceous gland. They are only functional in females. They produce milk, a watery mix of fat, protein and sugars to feed the young. The release of milk is called lactation. Structure of mammary glands made up of many lobules. Each lobule has clusters of secretory alveoli that make milk. Alveoli open into ducts which lead to the nipple. The nipple is surrounded by the pigmented area called the areola. The ducts join into the cistern inside the teat, a color of skin. Breast made up of adipose tissue under the mammary gland to form breast at sexual maturity. Special case in case of monotremes like the platypus, there are no nipples or teats. Milk comes out into a flat milk patch or areola on the skin and the baby's snout fits over this area for sucking. Nail, claws and hooves. Nail, claws and hooves are hard structures made by the keratinizing system of the skin. They are all made up of tightly packed conified hardened epithelial cells filled with keratin. Nails structure. Nails are flat patches on the top of fingers and toes. New nails materials grows from the nail matrix at the base. This pushes the old nail forward, replacing parts that get worn out or broken. Functions: it protects the sensitive tips of the fingers and toes from injury, helps stabilize the skin at the tips so the other side can grip objects firmly. Where found, only primates have true nails. Claws. Structure. Claws or talons are curved, pointed, laterally compressed keratinized projections at the tips of the digits. Claws are common in most mammals, reptiles, birds and even some amphibians. They help animals catch prey, dig, climb and defend themselves. Hooves. Their structure. They are large, thick keratinized plates covering the tips of the toes. Where found, they are found in ungulates like horses, cows, deer, goats and sheep. They support body weight, help with running and walking, and protect the ends of the limbs. This is the image showing the examples of hoofed mammals, even-toed ungulates and odd-toed ungulates. Horns and antlers. Only mammals have true horns or antlers. Other animals may have structures that look like horns, but these are just special pointed scales, not true horns. Bone and skin work together. Both horns and antlers are made by the underlying bone and the skin. The bone grows outward, carrying the skin with it. Horns. In true horns, the skin forms a hard, cornified sheath that covers a bony core. True horns are found in the bovid family or bovidae, example cattle, sheep, goats, antelope, bison, etc. Their horns are usually found in both males and females. They are not branched. They are kept all year round and keep growing throughout life. A true horn has a bony core covered by a tough keratin sheath. Pronghorn or Antilocarpidae. The pronghorn's horn is forked in adult mammals, different from other true horns. Rhinoceros horns. A rhinoceros horn is different. It has no bony core. It is made up of only compacted keratin fibers. So it is fully a product of the skin or integument. So this is the animals with horns and animals with antlers. Antlers. In antlers, the growing bone is covered by living skin called velvet. The velvet supplies blood and nutrients to the bone as it grows. Once the antler is fully formed, the velvet dries and falls off, leaving behind the hard bare bone. True antlers are found only in the deer family or cervidae, like deer, elk, moose. Usually only males have antlers, with a few exceptions. Features. Antlers are branched and shed and regrow every year. Examples: in deer there is a main beam with shorter branches growing from it. Antler growth is controlled by hormones. In spring, longer day cause the pituitary gland to release hormones. New antlers start growing. Growing antlers are covered by velvet. In fall, hormones from the testes stop the pituitary. The velvet dries up and falls off. Bare antlers remain. Baleen. Baleen is a filter feeding system found in the mouths of baleen whales. It is a skin derivative made up of keratin, the same protein found in human hair and nails. Baleen looks like stiff bristles arranged in plates along the whale's upper jaw. Baleen was once commonly used by humans and called whale bone. It is not the same as the actual bones of a whale. Real whalebones were used for things like carvings, cutlery handles, and as a substitute for ivory. Baleen is a special comb-like keratin structure that lets whales filter tiny sea creatures from ocean water. It is another example of how the skin can produce amazing structures to help animals survive and feed. Feeding method. The whale opens its mouth underwater and takes in a huge gulp of water full of small animals like krill. It then pushes the water out through the baleen plates. Tiny animals get trapped by the baleen bristles and stay inside the mouth to be swallowed. Variations among whales. Some whales like the bowhead whale have very long baleen plates. Others like the grey whale sometimes feed using only one side of their baleen. So this is the parts of a whale. So what we learned today: exoskeleton derivative in mammals are special structures formed from the skin such as hair, nails, claws, hooves, horns, antlers, scales, quills and callosities. They serve important functions like protection, temperature regulation, defense, sensory perception and even display during courtship. These features are excellent examples of how evolution adapt external body parts for survival in different environments. If this class helped you, like, share and subscribe with your friends for more zoology lessons. Keep observing nature's design, keep revising and stay curious. See you in the next class. Thank you.